This video is brought to you by Sam Bass Music.
You're watching 90s Rock in 9 minutes. I'm Sam Bass, this is Ashley, and today we're going over Guns N' Roses, the Spaghetti Incident. Bottom line is, this album is an overlooked hidden gem. It should have been a success in the mid-90s when it came out, 1993, but Kurt Cobain had a lot to do with why it wasn't. And we'll get into that. So you heard this recently. What did you think of it?
When I first saw the cover and knowing the time period that this came out in, I knew it was their attempt at being really 90s cool.
Oh, why? Just because
you're trying hard, but you're trying to not come off as trying hard.
So you raised a good point. This is a picture of spaghetti on the front cover. Why would Guns N' Roses do that?
Tell me why.
This is why. Because their bandmate, Izzy Stradlin, actually left the band and they were in a legal battle with him around the time of this recording. And one of the court transcripts said the Spaghetti Incident on it. And Axl thought that was a cool sounding, soundbite or whatever. And he made the album called that. The reason that the Spaghetti Incident was in the court transcripts is because apparently the guy they were suing, Izzy, he kept his party favors in the refrigerator next to the marinara or their spaghetti or whatever. The first two Guns N' Roses albums, I don't really like them. They're schlock, stock, rock, okay? So I had been going through, and then when I got to this album, listening to the discography, it starts off with Since I Don't Have You, which is like a 50s kind of doo-wop song, but they made it into a punk rock version, which I love whenever bands do that. I love whenever they take something that doesn't rock and they make it rock. So they had me right there, but then the whole album really shifts and it's just straight up punk rock energy the rest of the way through. It's actually a covers album. Hey, if you've been enjoying this episode, be sure to go ahead and click that subscribe button and like and leave us some comments. What do you think? Does this album live up or is this a total dud? After a couple of songs, there's a Down on the Farm. And that's where Axl, you heard him. He's like acting like a sheep. You remember that?
Yes, we were listening to it earlier.
Yeah.
I was definitely laughing at that.
So it's kind of, they have fun and it's tongue in cheek. Speaking of fun, the song Ain't It Fun? Mm-hmm. That's where the heart of this album, that song is a punk rock classic. And it's by a band called The Dead Boys. Mm-hmm. And that's really what, they had my curiosity with the beginning. And then they got my attention with that. That's about the middle of the album. And then that song that's like, now you're messing with a son of a glitch. Now you're... Remember that song? Mm-hmm. Everybody knows that song. Mm-hmm. Hair of the Dog. They covered that. And I remember when I was listening to this album, by the time we got to that song, I was like, okay, if the few songs after this are good, that's an entirely awesome album all the way through. And they were good. Then the last song on the album literally says, I don't care about you. And then they scream F you for the chorus. I mean, this is a punk rock classic. Now, here's the thing. There's a song that's not listed on there. That's the actual ending track. You heard the last song on that album, the one that's the secret song, acoustic. What did you think of it?
Well, it was definitely a lot more chill than the rest of the album because it goes hard for most of it. So I thought it was a good choice for an ending song, but a little surprising because of that.
But overall, you thought it was...
I thought it
pleasant.
Yeah.
You enjoyed it?
Yeah, absolutely. Almost a little bit of a love song.
And you would say, why would that be on a punk rock record? Because it was written by Charles Manson.
No.
It was. Yeah.
What?
It's called Look at Your Game, Girl.
I didn't know he wrote music.
He did. He actually worked with the Beach Boys and stuff. We're not going to give him any. We're not going to give him a platform. But he did his thing for a minute.
Did not know this. We need a whole episode on that.
So yeah. Oh, that's the thing. Charles Manson in the 90s.
Considered 90s though?
No, it was the 60s, 70s.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right. So if anybody disagrees with all of what I'm about to say, please leave in the comments why you think I'm wrong or if you think I'm right, because I've done a lot of research. Now, we're getting to Kurt Cobain and how he sunk Guns N' Roses' Battleship, okay? This album came out in 1993, and, you know, punk, grunge, it was all kind of the same thing, just slowed down. It should have been a hit. It really should have. But the year before, 1992, Guns N' Roses was at the 1992 Music Video Awards in support of their Use Your Illusion albums. And they were going to play November Rain. These actually did grow on me. I do like these. Guns N' Roses had already tried to get Nirvana and Kurt Cobain to go on tour with them, like I think the year before. Kurt turned that down. And here's a picture of Axl Rose even wearing a Nirvana hat. So Axl Rose and Kurt Cobain see each other backstage, and then they start asking Axl Rose to be their baby's godfather. They're just joking around with them, you know. But then I think Courtney Love, remember this? What do you think of that? I think she kind of made it a little more passive aggressive. What do you think?
What did she say?
Oh, she just was saying, "Hey, will you be our you know, baby's godfather or something?"
Oh, to Axl.
Yeah, Axl, and he's walking by. He's about to play November Rain. These are some young punks, and he's like, "Man," and he literally tells Kurt Cobain, "You need to shut your B up." So, yeah. So then he looks over at Courtney Love and goes, "Shut up, beep," you know, and they're laughing about it and stuff. Mm-hmm. But I think after that, I've seen footage. After that, they were on tour, Nirvana, and they're making fun of Axl after that. I saw, you know, they're making fun of him for being in the music video for the Estranged song where he's literally swimming with dolphins. You remember that? Mm-hmm. What'd you think of that when he jumped off an aircraft carrier and swam with dolphins?
I don't know. He's just trying to be Tom Cruise.
Yeah, he's trying to be Tom Cruise in the middle of a grunge revolution. It wasn't going to happen. It just wasn't going to happen.
And that's going against everything about being 90s.
Yeah.
The 90s vibe.
It was.
Attitude.
So I really do think, I mean, Kurt had a lot of sway, and the final, you know, straw that broke the camel's back was that they were making fun of, you know, Axl and Guns N' Roses for, you know, doing these schlock rock videos and swimming with dolphins and stuff. And then it was over with. And this was the casualty of all of that, I have to say. It got me into Guns N' Roses. And from there, yes, I did actually wind up picking up Chinese Democracy. You remember this one?
Not much.
Axl, he basically fired everybody in the band after this was a failure. And then he was trying to become Nine Inch Nails. Mm-hmm. And I didn't even, in the 90s, it was kind of a rumor and I didn't really believe it. But when I heard this album, the last song is called My World. And it does sound like a Nine Inch Nails song. So he really he left a little breadcrumb trail of, you know, I'm going to become an industrial musician. If you think I'm wrong about Kurt Cobain destroying Axl Rose's career, tell me why in the comments.
For people who may not have lived through it, at this time, Nirvana was kind of like the leader in the music scene.
They really were.
They
were
had calling
a lot.
The shots, and everything they did was what was cool. And he was the new guy, you know, the new leader. And I feel like Axl was the old guy, and he was trying to stay cool. But obviously, because they had their little falling out backstage, and from there, they never made up. So...
Yeah.
I do think, I think, you know, everything you've looked at, it really shows in everything that happened afterwards. Like, they never made any business deals. And obviously, the way rock went. Yeah.
So there you have it. This has been another episode of 90s Rock in 9 minutes. And you know what? There's something else I need to do.